What's that? You like RGB? Well, have I got a keyboard for you. The new Thermaltake Level 20 RGB Titanium Mech Keyboard arrived at home back in Australia for review, while I was at CES checking out the same keyboard. But now I'm back, so let's find out what's on offer. The Level 20 keyboard has a silver titanium colour scheme, although it's also available in black. The top plate is 2mm thick aluminium, so it's quite sturdy. This results in a total weight of around 1.5 kilos, and the dimensions of the keyboard are 48.2cm in length, 18.6cm in width, and 4.4cm in height. The cable has a nice braiding and is 1.8mm long and is not removable. It's got two USB Type-A connectors, one for the keyboard itself, and the second is for USB pass-through to the keyboard. There's also a 3.5mm audio jack for audio pass-through. There's a single USB 2.0 Type-A port on the back of the keyboard and a 3.5mm audio output for that pass-through. I've got Cherry MX Speed Silver switches here, so they've got a 1.2mm actuation point. This was my first time using this switch to type, as I usually use browns. The first thing I noticed was that they were much quieter. Here's what we're dealing with to give you an idea. This will of course vary depending on the switches you get. It's also available with Cherry MX Blue, which would be louder, and also Razer Green switches. My first impression on the silver switches are that they are much easier to activate, which makes sense given the lower actuation point. I definitely still prefer the browns myself, but did start getting used to it after a while and found it pretty nice to type with. The keyboard also has anti-ghosting and N-key rollover. The keys have a floating design, so they appear to be elevated a little from the keyboard. It comes with a key remover tool, so it's very simple to remove the caps. And it also came with some additional red caps should you wish to highlight the keys 1, 2, 3, 4, Q, W, E, R, A, S, or D. We've also got some dedicated buttons towards the right above the numpad. From left to right, we've got a game mode button, a button to adjust the brightness of the lighting between 5 levels, or turned off if you prefer, followed by a button to quickly lock the Windows keys if you're playing a game. There's a wheel for adjusting system volume and a button to quickly mute all sound. Below these are dedicated media buttons, including stop, last track, pause, and next track buttons. As you might have noticed, this keyboard has a lot of lighting. Along with key backlighting, there's also a strip of lighting running between the letters numpad area. The notch towards the bottom can also be used for routing a cable through for a headset to keep things tidy. There's also lighting running across the back and side edges. And while there's no lighting along the front, there is a clear space where we can see some. Some of the lighting can be changed using the keyboard itself without software. For example, the function key can be held while pressing the F6 light effect key to cycle through the effects. Likewise, the function key can also be held, and F7 and F8 can be used to slow down or speed up lighting effects respectively. The F9, F10, and F11 keys can also be used to manually adjust the amount of red, green, or blue light in various effects. Although, as you'll see, it's much easier to choose through the software. We can also hold function and press scroll lock, which is the light mode button, and this changes between highlighting different keys for different types of games. The Thermaltake iTake engine software can also be used to customize lighting. This allows us to easily pick from the 13 key effects and 14 sidebar effects visually in Windows. It gives us an idea in the software of what the effect will look like with an animation. It's much easier to pick the colors here, as we can manually enter in specific values and see what we're doing. Much more granular compared to using the keyboard to cycle through colors. The software can also be used to customize key lighting on a per key basis. We've also got the option of setting up macros here, and we can save our settings in 6 different profiles, allowing you to quickly swap between them. The lighting effects can also be synchronized across other Thermaltake products, like their CPU coolers or fans. And the keyboard also supports Razer's Chroma if you'd prefer to use that instead with your other Razer products. However, I don't have any of these myself to test with. If you prefer, there's also an app you can install for either iOS or Android, and this lets you control the keyboard too. Apparently the keyboard can also be changed with Amazon Alexa, so you can control the lights by talking. However, as I don't have Alexa, I wasn't able to give this a go. Underneath there's just a couple of feet up towards the back, which can be adjusted in 2 different levels. So you can either use the keyboard flat or raise it up between 2 height levels based on your personal preference. For up-to-date pricing, check the links in the description. At the time of recording, Thermaltake's suggested prices are $150 for the Speed Silver version that I've got here, $140 US for the Cherry Blues, or $130 US for the Razer Green switches. Here in Australia, they all seem to be going for around $200 Australian dollars. I honestly don't really keep up to date with keyboards and pricing, but at least here in Australia, that's looking fairly average. And this includes a 2-year warranty. Overall, I found the Thermaltake Level 20 keyboard pretty nice to type with once I got used to the silver switches. It's a little larger than my normal keyboard, but it looks quite nice if you're into RGB. The effects look nice in my opinion, and the keyboard is solid. I get that it's a gaming keyboard, but I think some more switch types would have been nice. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. And if you're new here, get subscribed for future tech videos like this one.